Hi, my name is Kriel. I'm a clinical psychologist of Somerset West, and today Albert has asked me to speak to you guys about something that is so key important for this time of year, and that is seasonal depression. So what is seasonal depression, you might ask? It's not something that a lot of people are aware of, but it is something that a lot of people experience. Seasonal depression is when you experience symptoms of depression consistently throughout your lifetime over a specific period of the year. So usually it occurs over winter time when people are more indoors. The reason for that is very simple. It's actually just biochemistry. When we are indoors more, we don't get exposed to UV light so that our bodies don't produce as much vitamin D, and therefore we start experiencing a vitamin D deficiency kind of depression. But that doesn't account for the reason why so many people in South Africa experience seasonal depression over Christmas time. Now, to put that in perspective, I want you to understand, first of all, that Christmas time and the festive season, it's difficult for a lot of people. Whatever losses you've experienced, whatever traumas you've experienced throughout your lifetime can become exacerbated when you look at it through the lens of what Christmas or the festive season is supposed to be. If it's supposed to be a time for family and connection, but you don't have family or connection, it can make you feel more isolated. If it's supposed to be a grandiose celebration with festive tables, but you don't have enough food for the next day, it can make your less seem even less. If it's about resting, but you have to work, it can make your feeling of having to work even bigger, and it can create a discontent and a difficulty to carry. Christmas and New Year's are times when psychologists usually take a bit of a break. We are all tired, we've had a long year, but mental illness does not take a break this time of the year. In fact, suicide attempts increase over the period of December and January. When we interview people that have survived suicide attempts after this difficult time of year, they will often say that they felt very alone. They were reminded of a lot of trauma they experienced at some points of their lives. And sometimes the loss of losing a loved one can be so severe that the absence of their presence is felt much more intensely when it gets to Christmas time. That doesn't mean it's all lost. The first thing that you need to do is look at your own life and see whether there are seasons, whether there are patterns to times in the year when you become depressed. A lot of my clients struggle more this time of the year. And for a lot of people that don't even seek help or that don't seek professional help, this time of year does bring a feeling of nostalgia, sadness, and melancholy. If you can identify that this is something you struggle with almost every year, you can now give it a name. The name would be seasonal depression. But if you are somebody that just gets a bit blue over this time of the year, you don't have a full-scale depression, you get what we call in layman's terms the festive blues. The festive blues is that feeling of just exhaustion, tiredness, not feeling certain that you can carry on every day, but not feeling as depressed as you do when you have a full-scale depressive episode that occurs during the season. What can we do to make it a little bit less severe? How do we buffer it? So I want to share with you some psychology tricks, hacks, life hacks, what do you want to call it, that can really help you over this time if this is something that you're struggling with. Now, first and foremost, I do want to say, if this is something that you are struggling with recurrently, seek out a good therapist, a good counselor or psychologist to help you work through whatever the root cause is for your depression, all right? Nothing, no set of self-help books, no set of tools, no set of understanding the experience will be able to help you as much as the relationship that you can build with a therapist, the way that you can work through your relationship in that way. Nothing can actually bridge that gap, okay? There is no shame in asking for help. In fact, the people that I see are some of the bravest people that I've ever encountered. Brave because they keep living in a life where they feel they don't fit, but they're also willing to look inwards and face the dragons that they've got to slay inside. Okay, so I want to encourage you, if you do identify with some of these things, some of the tips might help you, they might support you, but really going for therapy will be able to shift things for you greatly. All right, so if you experience the festive blues, if this is something that is not pathological, it doesn't require intense treatment, but this is what you experience annually, you get a bit low, the festive jingle doesn't sound very jingly to you, the lights don't shimmer as brightly, here are some things that you can do. First of all, number one, the most important thing for most of life, adjust your expectations. What do I mean when I say that? Well, if you adjust your expectations accordingly, if you don't expect Christmas to be this beautiful, elaborate, peaceful event where everybody is going to break out and dance and song and sing Silent Nights around the campfire, if you can accept that it's actually just another day where you're going to have good moments and you're going to have bad moments, it becomes more realistic. If you set yourself up for having this magical Christmas and you experience any kind of downer on the day, you're going to feel like somehow you are a failure, that somehow your way of relating with this day is different from everybody else, when the reality is most people actually have some disappointments on Christmas Day, because we have disappointments every day, and Christmas Day, really, it is just another day. And I'm not saying don't celebrate it, but keep your expectations realistic. The second thing is to be mindful that certain family members can actually trigger certain responses for you that usually you might have quite under control, but when you engage with them, especially in the kind of pressure cooker experience that the festive season can be, you can feel triggered. You can feel like life is falling apart and why am I doing this thing that I thought I had mastered? Well, triggers are subconscious. You're not consciously aware of them, but you can start becoming more and more aware of how your body responds around certain people. So if you realize, like, when you are with somebody specific, no matter what they say, you start tensing up, that person is triggering you. When you understand that, you can be like, oh, all right, so either I spend less time with them, or I now know that they are triggering for me. So when I am with them and they do something that gets my body to rile up, I understand that there's a subconscious process. Again, therapy can help you to unpack that, but you can just understand that it's a subconscious process and you can actually intentionally breathe, take a step back for yourself and just engage in a way that feels safer for you. Which brings me to point number 3, really important for this time of the year, set boundaries. What do boundaries look like? Well, they look different for every single person. Personal boundaries around people means that you decide how people are allowed to relate and engage with you. If somebody is in the habit of just dumping all their stuff on you and you don't have capacity, you need to tell them that you don't have capacity for that conversation. And this could be something such as, oh, I hear that you and your husband are having a really tough time in your marriage right now. And I really want to support you, but right now I have so many things that I'm going through. Do you mind if we speak about this maybe tomorrow? Or maybe I can't speak to you about this topic at all because it's heavy for me to carry. Or personal boundaries could be that if somebody's in the habit of always just invading your space, that you tell them, I'm sorry, but I'm not comfortable when you invade that space. Now, people do not like it when we set boundaries with them because they've become in the habit of always doing the same thing in a certain way. So they might experience a bit of shock and rejection, and they might make you feel bad for setting the boundary. Don't. When you set a boundary, you're in control of how people engage with you. And over the festive season, it's more important than ever because this is a time when people do try and stretch your boundaries. Another boundary that's important to set for yourself is a financial boundary. I can't tell you how many times in January people come and tell me that they completely blew the budget and now they have nothing to live with for the next month. It's not worth it. That gift, that roast beef that you're going to put on the table, that elaborate Christmas party, or that fancy outfit that you are planning on buying, It's not worth the financial stress that you are going to experience in January. I really want you to just take note of this because it's an important point, and every year people step in the same habit. If you have to make debt to buy something or to host a party or to buy an outfit, it's literally not worth it. The stress and the extra money that you're going to be paying towards that is going to cause you distress, which you do not need this time of year. So if you can't afford it, do not purchase it. Remember, the whole magic around Christmas, it's man-made. The reason why we celebrate it should be one that you celebrate out of a faith-based position, which is actually such a simple, glorious, beautiful position to take it from. But you do not have to celebrate Christmas with all the bells and the whistles and the big trees. All right, so that is a man-made construct, the way we celebrate. Another tip that I have for you for this festive season is to make sure you take some time to turn inwards. Make sure you take some time to reflect on the past year. Reflect on what went really well and reflect on the painful parts as well. There is benefit in turning inwards, even if it's just once a year. Doing a stock take of your life, identifying what really went well and what was painful. I want to encourage you to write this down. I want to encourage you to journal this. Why? Well, writing down uses your entire brain, which means that even as you're writing, you're processing it with your visual cortex, your memory cortex, your verbal, your occipital cortex, your visual, your motor cortex is involved in the writing down, which means that writing down is a whole brain process. And the benefits of processing something in a way with your entire brain, it's endless. This is one of the things that I always tell my clients to do, and the ones that actually follow through and do this see the fastest change, see the fastest progress in the littlest amount of time. Reflect and write down. The last tip I want to give you is to do a future cast. Now, what is a future cast? Well, it's you taking the time to engage your imagination and imagine what your life could be like in a year from now. Having big dreams. Maybe you want to start a business in the new year. Maybe you are sending your child to school or to university for the first time. Or maybe you yourself want to engage with some kind of educational program that can benefit and grow you. You will not be the same person 25 December 2023 as you are this year. So I want you to reach out into yourself and really see what it is that you want to achieve in the next year. This does two things. First of all, it gives you hope. And hope is the antidote to despair. The second thing it does is it gives you something tangible to start visualizing and to work towards. And, well, I guess all of us can do with a little bit of visualizing. All of us can do with a little bit of tangible change. Something that we feel is within our reach. Don't make it complicated. Don't make it too big. Just make it realistic. Make it one thing. I personally do not believe in New Year's resolutions. They are New Year's wishes often. But you can change habits in the new year that can lead to fulfilling, long-lasting change in your life. Focusing on practical things that you can do is way more special, way more achievable and attainable than writing a long list of resolutions that surely nobody can finish. I really hope today that you take something out of this video. I hope that you hear that if you are feeling a bit blue, you're not alone. If you're feeling like you don't have things under control and you don't have a plan for this turmoil that is called the festive season, I hope that you take some control. I hope that you actually apply some of these practical things. Again, therapy is the way to deal with trauma. Therapy is the way to deal with the unconscious dynamics that you experience that you are not aware of. And there's no shame in going for therapy. Maybe that's one of the habits you want to create in the new year. But for this festive season, these are some proven tools that I've worked with my clients to really help them overcome this time of the year when it gets a bit blue, when it gets a bit much. May you be encouraged, and may you know that you are worthy of having an incredible time within the right boundaries, within your means, but it can still be meaningful and it can still be special. And if you experience loss, I really want to say that I'm sorry for your losses. May you find a way to capture the memory of the people that are not with you today. And may you celebrate them and know that even though their relationship with you is over, their love in your life will never cease to be. So to each and every viewer today, I want to wish you a very happy festive season. From me, goodbye.